say to life.
Make sure I don't include my teeth.
I'm
honestly,
John
Wild.
No, give me that one.
Put this down.
No, you take that one.
I bashed my brains out.
Welcome to another episode of the YTH Nation Podcast. We are in Elevation Ballantine today, which we weren't planning on, but it looks pretty cool, hopefully on camera. We have Brittany with us today from Elevation Rhythm.
Yeah.
Guest hosting. Let's go.
Big love.
Thank you for being here today. We got Nate Diaz.
Me and Brittany are not cousins.
We are not
No
actually
sibling.
related. We're just
We're not related at all. We just
friends.
have the same name.
Right,
We do
Last
that.
name.
right.
My
Last
name's
name.
Nate.
My name is
I
Brett.
wasn't clear. But today, we're so excited to have the one, the only Abbie Gamboa with us today. Let's
I'm
go.
excited to be here, guys.
Thank you so much for coming to hang, man.
Love y'all.
This is gonna be a good pod, man. I feel goofy yet anointed.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
They can live in
yeah.
the same space.
Oh man, but thank you so much for being here. You're here. You're doing a little writing. I don't know if we're
Yes.
allowed to say that, but
We weren't
Why not?
writing.
oh
Yeah.
no, we weren't. No. You're just hanging out in the studio.
Yeah.
Today. But yeah, we're so excited to have you. I feel like we tried to do this maybe a little bit ago in
Mhm.
Dallas.
Yeah.
It didn't work out, but now we're here. Won't he
Yeah.
do it? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Nate, you got to
Amen.
stop staring at me like that.
Dude, I'm listening to
It's
you.
the way that you're not saying anything and you're not even being silly, but you've already been silly, so
Right.
a look
So
is
all
enough.
of a sudden, yeah.
The looks
That's-
It's a normal look.
That's
Right.
good. We should write that.
That's
a
a
look is enough.
song.
enough.
A
He's
look is
mine good.
enough.
Yeah.
So just a look is enough.
Wow. Holy.
Anyways,
Y'all
you
have
guys
been
can't have
cooking
credits
today.
on that.
Yeah. Anyway.
My fault.
No, you're good. But we're stoked to have you here. Before we dive into the music or life or anything like that, I just want to know a little bit of backstory, where you're from. I would love to know how you came to the Lord. But
Yeah.
anyway, we'll start with where you're from.
So I was born in San Antonio.
Mm.
My family lived in Lubbock at the time, though. It's a long
No
story.
way.
My mom had a home birth with me. And so our
What?
midwife was in San Antonio. So I was born at my grandparents' house.
Okay.
That's a fun little fact, actually.
Yeah.
Wow.
That little fact. So I was born at their house in San Antonio, moved to Lubbock. And then my family lived kind of all over. We were mostly in DFW, which is where I am now.
Okay, gotcha.
We lived out of state a couple times, but we were kind of all over the place. Landed in Dallas. My family is from a little town in Waxahachie, Texas, which is like south of Dallas. That's kind of where we made home base
Okay.
in the last few years that I lived at home, and now Dallas is home.
Dang.
Like Dallas proper.
Right.
So
Heck yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like Dallas. Dallas is cool, man.
yeah, me too.
It
Kid
actually
loves
is.
Dallas.
I really liked it last time I went. It
Yeah, the
felt like
people are great.
it felt like home away from home. Like everyone was just very welcoming.
It is
Very
a
cool.
very like warm place.
Yeah.
People are kind there.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
beautiful. So growing up, you're in Dallas. What was like your like journey to the Lord? Did you grow up in a Christian home or like
Yeah.
What was that
Yes. My dad was a youth pastor
Mhm.
from when I was born till I was 10. So I grew up in the church, kind of PK till I was 10. He also led worship, and my mom was a dancer. So
Oh.
creative home. We were in a really creative home. And my parents loved Jesus, and I definitely grew up in a Christian household, but I really met Jesus when I was about 12 years old.
Mm.
Like for real. And my dad baptized me at the YMCA pool, and
Wow.
it was like a whole summer really of like a coming to Jesus where it was kind of intense. I would like remember things from when I was a little girl. Like
right?
I didn't have much of a history,
Mhm.
but the Lord convicted me of a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I would come talk to my parents and be like, oh my gosh, I have to tell you about this. And it was just this really pure like
Yeah.
intro into the Lord being my savior.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, it was very simple. There wasn't much to it. It wasn't ever like I responded to an altar call or somebody spoke a word over me and it got me and I gave my life to Jesus. It was very gradual and very
Yeah.
personal
Yeah.
in my home.
Right. And how special to do that
Yeah.
with your
Yeah,
dad.
it's beautiful.
Yeah, it
At
was
the
so
YMCA
fun.
pool.
At the Y. I don't even know how we
Was
didn't
there like
even.
people around? and
Yeah,
stuff?
there were all these people just swimming at the Y.
No.
Wait, that's sweet though.
Yeah.
That's adorable.
It was
That's
really
amazing.
cute.
That is
Yeah.
so cool.
It was
That's
very
sick.
special.
Heck yeah.
So you're in
Yeah.
Dallas now.
Yeah.
What is your church? I mean, I know this, but we're gonna. I think we all
Just
do.
act
But
like you guys don't
we're on a
know each other
podcast.
and you're
He
not
doesn't know
friends.
anything
So-
about me.
What is it like your church? You're at Upper Room. How did you get connected to them? Like, how did you get connected to them as a church?
So my family was going to a church in Waxahachie.
Mm-hmm.
And we heard about this place called Upper Room from some friends of ours.
Yeah.
And it was very much like, I guess underground is kind of a term for it. Nobody knew how to find it. We didn't have social media. We didn't have, our address was impossible to find. I say their address was impossible to find. We had like a Facebook page. So you had to like go dig and find it. It was very word of mouth.
Dang.
But we heard about this place, and it just from the description, it sounded special. And so we were like, we should go. We went on a Sunday night, and I never left. It was just this place of freedom, and I felt like I found my people. I found home, and I found like family for a long time. So my family was going to a church in Waxahachie, and so I was kind of back and forth, but it became home for me in 2013. We found
Dang.
Upper Room 2012, 2013, it became home, and kind of the rest is history. I met my husband there.
Wow.
Friends like for over a decade now that have become like family. It's very much home for me. It's a very grounding place.
Yeah.
My husband and I have been traveling a lot, and it's just a place to come home to, really.
Wow. That's
yeah,
beautiful.
I think that everyone sees like the influence that the Lord is giving you guys now as a movement and even as individuals, right? But tell us a little bit what that was like for someone that, give someone the context to like, oh, what you're seeing is the tip of an iceberg of many years of sacrifice, of hours in the prayer room.
Yeah.
Like even break down what that looked like being in the prayer room. Like
At
this is
Upper Room specifically?
over a decade in the making.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting even hearing some of our stories of how we came to start even being a part of worship at Upper Room. It was all very natural and organic, and there's like systems in place now, of course, because there's so many people coming in, and you have to have systems at some point, but we didn't have a system back in the day, and so we kind of all just in our own way started serving in the prayer room.
Yeah.
And I would say that a big shifting point for us, we were all on different sets. Upper Room has prayer sets morning, noon, and night. So from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m., we basically have corporate prayer. There's 3 2-hour corporate sets and then devos in between.
Every day?
Every day. Monday to Friday. Saturday looks a little different. There's a morning set, and then the weekend services start Saturday night.
Wow.
So there's pretty much always something happening in the prayer room.
Wow.
But a big shifting point for us was in I don't even know, probably 15. Someone's going to hear this and be like, Abby, you were wrong on the date. But I think
That's
around
all right.
2015, I wasn't even a part of the very beginning of this, but Julian, my brother-in-law, Gabe's oldest brother, and our friend Johnny had this idea to have a late night prayer set on Friday nights. It started from 10 to 12, and then it ended up going from 8 to 10 later. But started at 10 to 12, and it was just Julian, his brothers, and a few of us. It was Eniola, Joel, Hannah Sheets, me. I'm forgetting people, Sarah Beth. There's a few of us, and we would just get in the room, and our goal was not for anybody to come. We just wanted to worship together. We had been doing it in each other's homes for a long time, and obviously together in the prayer room, but we wanted to set aside a time just for us to get together and love on Jesus. And it kind of turned into this whole thing. People started finding out and coming. Yeah. And it started in our original building above this pet clinic. And then we moved it. I know, it was above we would like hear dogs barking during the prayer sets and stuff. It was crazy.
It was funny.
But so we started it there, and then we moved it to our our current location. And by the time we got there, it was so big, it was filling up like a Sunday, and we had to have security. It turned into this whole thing. But it really was this place of like, we cultivated relationship with each other and simple worship. And I'm trying to remember what the original question was, because this tied into just kind of the history.
Yeah, the history
Yeah.
of,
Yeah, so now I say all that to say what people see now, I believe very much so is a product of what we cultivated together.
Yeah.
Even like YouTube moments, when we started releasing YouTube moments, we had already been cultivating this thing together for years at this point. And so by the time things were being put out on YouTube, we had like a sound and a feeling that we had kind of grown together with the Lord. And so, yeah, that's a bit of my history. There's so many moving parts, and we've kind of all just come under this overarching vision that Michael Miller has from the Lord to build a resting place for the Lord.
Yeah.
And we kind of just were like a little piece of that in our own way, in our house, at Upper Room. And then it kind of just trickled out into the world in its own way.
That's beautiful. Before we keep pushing past that, I forgot to ask, how did you like get into singing? Like, how did you know you wanted to do it?
Back up a little.
I would love to know that.
Yeah. I was actually telling someone about this morning. This is kind of random and goes back before I even was alive. My mom was pregnant with me, and she had a lot of anxiety around my due date because her due date was this whole thing. Her due date was super off. I came like much later than she thought I was going to. And so she had a ton of anxiety, and she was at this super prophetic church, and they had a night of prayer for me and her. She was pregnant with me. And she has a cassette tape. I need to ask her for it. But she has a cassette tape somewhere with all these words spoken over my life in the womb about worship and prophetic worship and spontaneous worship, and how it would be like becoming this like not normal, but like it would be happening more in the earth as I was kind of coming into myself.
Yeah.
And so I had all these words and I knew about them. My mom told me about them. She'd like played me the cassette tape all my life. And when I was, I get the dates mixed up, but probably around like 11, something like that, the worship leaders at the church we were at the time asked me to come sing. I like auditioned, and it was I was so excited. And I got to sing on their worship team as an 11-year-old.
Jeez.
And for me, it was this like very significant, like I knew about those words and I was like, wow, this is a step into that. And I didn't even know what that meant. I was 11 years old. I didn't know how to lead worship. I didn't know what it meant to like serve the people and serve God in that way. I didn't understand, but I was given this place of just a space to learn, really.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's where it started. And then I kind of just served in whatever local community we were a part of at the time.
Yeah.
And then when I found Upper Room, I kind of always didn't feel quite like I fit wherever we were.
Yeah.
Felt a little bit like a square peg in a round hole. I still do a lot of times. I still do like in lots of spaces that I'm in. But when I found Upper Room, it felt like, oh, they are doing what I have been longing to do. And I haven't really found the right people to express in this way with. So that's kind of how I started.
Right.
And then Upper Room was just this beautiful expression that I'd been longing for.
Wow.
So
that's amazing. That is so crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wild to think that, like, again, it goes to show, like, I think, especially in the world we live in, everything happens so quick and people want influence so quick.
Yeah.
And they think they're only as impactful as how many people they can reach.
Yeah.
But look at the impact that that the Lord was having in your heart. Like, it isn't even about impacting the earth as much as it is like, I was made to move the heart of God.
Yes.
Right.
Before I was made to move the heart of people.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, like, my favorite thing about even hearing the history behind like those nights that now people characterize like with the sound of Upper Room is that, one, you guys literally did it from 10 p.m. to 12 midnight because you guys wanted a time where nobody was going to be there.
Yeah.
And then two, before you guys ever felt like the Lord was releasing you guys to release stuff, like, it was years and years and years.
Yeah.
Like, it was years before you guys ever did that. And so that's why the Lord can trust you guys with so much. That's why the Lord, like, even the sound that you have is so specific and this is not a segue, but it is just a word, and it is pure. It is super pure.
Yes.
Literally.
Which tell us about that. You
Come
released
on.
your first
Wait,
solo
real
album.
fast. I
Please,
want to talk
please.
about the album.
Uh-huh.
But what you said about, like, we did it from 10 to 12 and nobody knew about it.
Yeah.
I heard someone say recently, like, everyone's longing, not everyone, that's traumatic, but all these young people are longing to, like, do something significant in the earth. I think we all long for that to some degree. Like, I want to make my mark. I want to, like, I want to be talked about as somebody who, like, did something good in this life. But as soon as you, like, for example, and I'm not even, like, I'm so far, there's people doing much bigger and more amazing things than what I get to do. But I'm at this place that I think I, like, young, like 11-year-old Abby could have never dreamed some of the rooms I've gotten to be in and some of the places I've gotten to go and people I've gotten to do it with. And I, even now, like, I'm here and I long for that simple 10 to 12. Even like in each other's house. I was going through my voice memos the other day and I found a memo from a random worship night we had at Gabe's house, my husband. The boys would just open up their home and we would just worship as friends with, like, a piano and an acoustic. And I long for that simple, and it's not that it doesn't still exist, but it was all we had. And so I guess I'm just saying that to encourage anyone listening, young people, that it's really not all that. And you long for the simplicity as soon as it gets bigger than that. So anyway, but...
That was beautiful.
No, I love that.
I heard someone say, as soon as you're seen, you really want to get hidden again.
Jeez.
It's so true.
Yeah.
J. Lou said that. Jonathan Lewis, he's on staff at Upper Room. And I just have thought about it a lot since he said it. It's like, wow, that's so true. Like, so many people want to be seen, but the minute that you're seen, it's just like, oh, I'd like to get back where nobody can see me.
It's true. It's true. It reminds me of the verse Matthew 6 where he just says, when you pray, go into your room and shut the door and pray to your Father in secret and he will reward you. And I feel like you have that desire to just be in that hidden space, and it's not like there's this reward of, like, all the flashy things, but, like, the presence of the Lord is on your life. And so I just want to thank you just for that.
Gosh.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
It's
That's
beautiful.
so kind. I think I long to debunk getting somewhere. Like, and all that it is, all that it seems to be. It is just not all that it seems to be. And there's such a beauty to it. I'm not saying that in a resentful, like, gosh, I wish I could just not be doing what I'm doing. I love it and I'm honored and, like, it's beautiful, but I'm also like, oh, if you're hidden, just like, eat that up. Eat it up, because you have to fight for it once you're not naturally anymore. So,
Beautiful. We can just go ahead and end the podcast.
So good having you on.
Yeah, that's great. Gabe, you can come out now.
Where's Gabe?
We're done. I don't know. I
HB
think
and
he's
Gabe
back
are in
there
the
with
green
HB.
room.
They're
HB
just
and Gabe are
vibing.
cooking.
Yeah, they're
Tell us
probably
about
right.
Pure.
Yeah.
The album.
Yes.
What
Well,
an
what do you
album.
want to know?
I'm like, what do you
want to know about it?
I mean, like, literally, just amongst, like, my peers, people my age, like people love that album, including myself. It is so special, and, like, we played our NextGen off it. We had it on, like, loop for, like, the longest time when it came out. Like, it's such a beautiful thing. I guess just, like, where did the inspiration come from for it? It's such a beautiful worship artistry combination. Like, it's just so sick.
I'm so glad you like it. It was a dream for a while. But the heart of it was truly to make something almost uncomfortably exposed. Like, even the restraint in the sound, like, there's not a lot of elements. I was talking to someone this morning and they were like, there's not even any harmonies on it. And I was like, yeah, there's not very many harmonies. And that wasn't, like, we would put things in. We would put harmonies, we would put parts, we would put all these things. And then we'd take most of them away. And even the restraint, like the goal was that the listener would hear it and be confronted with what they heard and not be able to hide from it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Almost like I wanted you to hear it and be like, oh gosh, this is what it is. And like, I can either take it for what it is or I cannot. I can either receive it or not. But there's no like hidden thing underneath it. It just is this pure offering, pure expression, an honest process before God.
Yeah.
It's been crazy hearing people talk about how they can like find themselves in it, how it's kind of this like relatable. A lot of people have been like, it's like you wrote my journal. And it's funny because it felt so personal to me, which it is, but it just it like speaks to the human experience and how so many things, so many like what feels so personal. It was almost like bringing people in, as vulnerable and uncomfortable as it was, made people not feel so by themselves. I think when you like don't share, and not to say that you need to like bare your soul to the whole world on every topic,
right?
But there is this beauty to opening a piece of yourself up. And I didn't even go as deep as I could have. It was almost like, for me, it felt like, oh, we could have talked about a lot more stuff. But even what was shared was like, so many people have been like, oh my gosh, same. So it's been really cool, like seeing people find themselves in what I thought was only mine.
Jeez.
It's very humbling. I felt like sad when I released it, which is funny. So much anticipation, like a year plus of dreaming and writing and recording and producing and all the things. And then you release it and it's like so anticlimactic. So you're like, I've been carrying some of these songs for years. Like one of them I wrote, Mountain Air, I wrote in like 2016 or something.
That's insane.
Holy.
Just like in the mountains in Colorado.
Wow.
Like some of these songs that I've been like holding in my voice memos for what?
What? There's a noise.
Oh.
Yeah, Nate has ADD bad. I'm
sorry.
sorry.
Dale.
They're not you.
Squirrel.
By the way, Mountain Air is, I go through different seasons with that album. Mountain Air is actually becoming my favorite song on the record. Yeah.
That one is it was so annoyingly easy. It was one of those that just like, I got to Colorado on a trip and I felt so clear, which is funny because a lot of people go to Colorado and say they feel like heavy.
Yeah.
Did you feel that?
Well, yeah, like up in I forget, we were out there for like tour or something and we were doing like West Coast and like I did feel like some sort of, it was like there's like a term for it, like elevation cloud or
yes,
like,
I know what you're talking about.
I can't think of the term, but yeah, I felt mad weird when I was out there for sure.
Some people say that. Some people say even like spiritually, they feel a lot of like weird, there's just a lot of stuff going on there.
Yeah.
But I got there, I don't know what it was. Maybe it was like, I did it to myself mentally. Like I just was like, I'm in the mountains, so it's clear. But I felt so clear headed and like my heart felt so clear. And so I just sat down and like wrote about it. So like songs like that, and then Steph wrote the bridge like a couple years later. It's been like this ongoing process. So like when I put this album out, there's songs like that and then there's songs that we wrote for the project that felt so like honest and like, oh, I've been longing to say this. And it was just this really like vulnerable, naked thing. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm like telling people some things and I've been holding it and then I released it. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's not mine anymore.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Like it is, but I just like gave it away. And it was this sad, I don't remember why I said that. I guess just
You're
the human
saying when
experience.
you released it, it was like,
yeah. It was just this,
anticlimactic and
emotional.
sad.
I don't remember why I brought that up, but it was just this like, this is so beautiful, but this sucks. It's like, I think anyone that's released anything probably feels that, but.
Dang, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's been really special. I do love that project. It's the first time that I've released something that I felt like truly proud and like we worked and we fought for like the purity of it. No pun intended, but like we truly fought for the purity of it. Like every person that was invited into being a part of it, every sound, every restraint of sound, every like everything, the visuals, all like the album covers in front of my house, simply because it was like, I was like, I don't want it to be anything. I want it. My home tells its own story because it's my home, but it just is what it is. It's just my home. It's just me in front of my home. And so many things were like very intentionally placed or not placed. And it's been really special. Dang. I do love those songs a lot.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
They're so good.
I think my favorite's got to be Moonflower.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
What a great song. You put me on, actually.
Yeah.
I take Nate to the airport a lot. And
all the travel.
Yeah, oh yeah, all the time. Seems like, like twice a week.
Okay.
And for a while there. So a lot of times it's like mad early in the morning. So like, bro, before like 11 a.m., you can't listen to anything besides worship,
It's true. It's so true.
Brittany listens to Dembo.
You put me on that. Don't even try it. No, just kidding.
No, but it dropped, and he like put it on one of the mornings we were going to the airport, and that was the first one he put it on. And I was like, yo, this is
that one is beautiful.
Crazy. Like in the most beautiful way. Was that one of the ones that you've had for a while, or did that come for this project? Or?
That one came for this project. We had a few people come out and write in Dallas. We took a trip to Nashville and did a few writes, and then we brought some people in to Dallas. And Jason Upton came. That song, oh gosh, there's a lot of writers on it. Gabe wrote on it, Oscar, my brother-in-law, Joel Figueroa, Jessie Early. She's one of my favorite people to write with. I love her. And then Jason. I feel like I'm forgetting somebody. But yeah, Jason had told us this story. We rented an Airbnb, and so we all just like wrote in all these different rooms in the Airbnb for a couple days. And he's a storyteller. He's like, I don't know if I've ever told, I'm excited because I don't think I've ever told this story like fully in this like directly on a podcast or anything. Told it like on things that weren't recorded. But he's a storyteller. He's like just a true dad, and he just walks in. He's super prophetic, and so he's just like he just shares his life, and he'll tell these incredibly like profound stories, and he's so nonchalant about it, and you're just shook all the time. I'm ever like, how do you have how do you have so many stories? Anyway, he tells us a story about the Moonflower. He was in London, south of London, at the grounds where David's tent happens, this huge worship gathering that happens once a year. And he got there, he was leading at the conference. This was a few years ago, I think. And there's a garden on the grounds, and the night he got there, he was like, I'm just gonna walk around, found this garden. And he walked in, he was like, I smelled this insane aroma. Like it took over my body, and I was like overcome. And he just stayed there and enjoyed it a while, left, came back the next morning, and the smell was gone. And he was like, what the heck? I was just here a few hours ago. And he went and found the gardener, and he was like, what was that? I was here last night, and I smelled, and he described the smell to her. She said, oh, those are the moonflowers. They only let off their fragrance at night.
What?
Wow.
Whoa.
Yes. And he was like, so it just got me thinking. We're just all sitting around the table. There's like coffee we were having coffee the night before we did the Moonflower write. He's like, yes, it just got me thinking. Like, what kind of beauty comes out of dark seasons?
Oh,
what kind of fragrance rises in dark places? And we were all like, what?
And he's being mad chill about it.
Oh, he was so nonchalant. He was like, yeah.
Are we talking about Jason Ingram?
Jason Upton.
Oh, Upton. Okay.
Jason Upton. Yeah. I mean, he definitely like, he knows it's profound, but he was just so chill. He was just yeah. I was like, yeah, that's, I was just,
insane.
And so we were all like, what? And so we got it the next morning. We were like, we all got in the room, and everyone was like, what's she write about? And we were like, I mean, obviously. The Moonflower. So we wrote the song, and then we were like, it's not clear enough. Like, we want it to hit us the same way that the story hit us. So we just wrote the story at the end of the song.
Yes, I love that part.
We just literally were like,
that's nuts.
That was Joel's idea. Joel was like, what if we just like, I heard about a garden. And we just told the story.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my God.
It's crazy. I love that song.
I
Sometimes I hear that song and I'm like, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Like, actually.
It's actually
Your
wild.
song.
So many layers.
And you know what's crazy? In YouTube worship is a rabbit hole because then
It's such a
it's a rabbit hole because I found it someone that screen records the sets when you and Joel did it, and it was to follow the leader moment. And
that's how you heard the song?
No, but that took the song to another level. There's that.
We did it
and
in
then
different time
there's
signature.
Yeah, you guys did it in 6/8.
What?
Yeah, I'll send you that. I'm dropping that link in the chat. It's crazy.
Yo, that's going to be in the description below.
Yeah.
Upper Room Prayer Sets. It's a third-party page, not affiliated with Upper Room at all.
Not affiliated.
I think it actually is on Upper Room's page now, but it was first ripped.
Really?
That's how it always happens.
That was because I'd be like, oh, that was good.
The important ones get ripped
first
off the street.
Yeah.
Someone's just in their basement, like.
Oh yeah.
There's one called like Upper Room Worship Moments.
Really?
Like, honestly, they've got all of the juice.
They got the sauce.
They found all of it.
That's
right off the stream.
So crazy.
I mean, we have it, but they got just the right part.
And they're quick.
They're quick.
And they posted it 30 minutes after.
No, it's like immediate. I'm like, how did you crop that? Like, get it all? Like, how did you? How did it not take? Yeah, longer to just like get it on your computer or your drive or whatever. Yeah, I'm like, what are we doing? Yeah.
I'm kidding.
YouTube's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's been really cool to see you kind of collaborate with other worship artists. And your most recent song, I think it's On Time God. That's one of my favorites. I
think it is the most recent. Oh, yeah.
With Worship Evolve and Chandler Moore, that has been such a beautiful song to me. It came timely, for sure. God is timely.
On Time God.
Yeah.
He is an on-time God.
He is an on-time God. Can you share a little bit of just like how that idea was birthed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is kind of a funny story because I did not know who Sarah Jakes Roberts was. That's T. Jake's daughter.
Right.
Just for anyone who doesn't know, like me. So I was asked to come write for her album. Didn't know what Woman Evolve was. I didn't know anything. I'm like not in that space at all.
Right.
And so I was asked to come write for her album, and I was like, oh, cool. T. Jake's daughter like must be like, I don't know, like a closet worship leader or something. Like nobody knows she like writes songs. So I'm thinking I'm going to write for her album.
Yeah.
She did write the song with us. It was me, Chandler, Anna Golden, Sarah and her husband, and a couple other people. But we're sitting there and Sarah never once sang a song. Yeah. She like never sang any of it. She would just like, she wrote a lot of the song, but she would just say it. And by the end they were like, I think they had me sing the demo because I remember being confused. I was like, wait, why doesn't Sarah sing the demo? Like, and she was like, you don't want me to sing the demo. I was like, I'm so confused. I'm literally so confused. And everyone was like, Abby, she's not going to sing the demo. And I was like, what is happening? I don't understand how I'm the only one confused here. And they were like, Abby, she doesn't sing. She just speaks. And I was like, right. You know. That's what I meant.
I knew that.
That's what I meant. So anyway, but the song was birthed from very much her heart. Yeah. She just kind of shared, she like sent us a voice memo before the write and was like, I really feel like this is kind of the heart behind this year's Woman Evolve. It's this huge conference that happens. We did it at, I don't know what it's called, but it's where it's the Texas Rangers Stadium.
Oh,
but it's got a name.
The baseball
Globe
team.
Life. It's called Globe Life Theater.
All women?
It was all women.
Okay.
40,000 women, I think.
Whoa.
Yes. Huge.
Holy
Sarah Jakes Roberts is insane. Yeah. I love her. She is crazy. Love you, Sarah, if you're watching this. But yeah, it was very much just like, it was her heart for the conference. And so we wrote this song and it kind of became this anthem. And we recorded it at the conference. It just was like a very special, timely, simple thing.
Yeah.
We wrote it and it was easy and it was fluid. And then we did it and it was easy and it was fluid. We released it and it was easy. It just was like this, you kind of know like when the Lord is on something, when it is that simple. Yeah. There wasn't a lot of like weirdness or like, infusion around it. It was very, very much God breathed.
Right.
Beautiful.
It's very
amazing.
special.
And to think that you're singing this over like young women, moms, like just like so encouraging. That's beautiful.
Yes. It's been a huge encouragement to me. Yeah. Good reminder.
It really is.
Banger.
Timing gets weird. Humans get rushed.
Yep. That's true.
Yeah.
Something there for sure.
Yeah. Something to that.
Hold on.
Let me write this down.
Oh man. Speaking of music and everything.
Y'all segues are very smooth.
Hey.
I don't know where you're going, but
We
I
try.
feel the smoothness.
Ooh, nice
We
transition.
try.
Speaking of pure.
Speaking of pure, no pun intended.
Has been practicing for 3 days.
Right. I was writing these questions last night after you guys left the house.
Okay, wait, what was your segue?
Oh, my segue was speaking of music. The most general.
Not that smooth.
Speaking of
Not that
Speaking of.
the Lord.
Speaking of God, no. I want to know if you can tell us, are you working on any more stuff for this year? Are you planning on releasing anything?
Yes.
What can we expect
Yes.
if you're allowed to disclose?
I know. I saw that question on. I think y'all changed some of the questions.
We
But
did, sorry.
No, it's okay. Curveballs.
It's curveballs.
No, I was thinking about this because I was like, how much do I want to share?
You don't have to. Just tell me no.
I mean, we have some surprises.
Okay.
Pure is not dead yet. We have some like revamping of Pure
Very fun.
Oh,
that we
yeah.
want to do.
Yeah.
I told you
Uh-oh.
about this.
Mm.
I feel like I don't want to say it.
Don't say it.
I'm
say
not
it.
going to say it.
I'll
Don't
just
say
ask
it.
Nate to say it after you leave. I'm kidding.
She also
It's a
gave me
secret.
a pill to wipe my memory after, so
Yeah, he has no idea.
it just gets
Nothing.
cloudy.
He
Right.
just remembers that I told him, and then
That's
it's like,
about it.
But what
Yeah.
was it? I don't know.
but there are things coming.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
There's also
Very
some
exciting.
fun like collabs this year that are
Ooh.
not Pure related or like, so, yeah.
That
That are not pure.
They're not
Literally.
pure.
Someone please get the video of me going.
Somebody's gonna catch that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They're not related to the album.
Got
They're
it,
just
got it.
collabs with other fun people.
Dang, I'm
Yeah.
stoked. That's
I'm
gonna be
excited.
beautiful.
This is gonna be a fun year. I'm actually very excited
Yeah.
about this year.
2024 just feels good.
It feels good,
Why
right?
is
So
that?
good.
Watch your mouth though.
So
Yeah,
good.
I
Yeah,
know.
you better knock on wood.
Because we were all so fired up for 2024.
2020.
No, guys,
Oh.
I'm telling you,
It's a
I feel
different
like
though.
this starts like a new decade. This feels like the start
Yeah.
of a new
It
decade.
really does.
Yeah.
Why does that
does
feel
shift.
like that?
It feels
I don't
like a
know.
shift.
Is it because we're all
doesn't
around the
feel
same
like
age?
last year
No.
No.
at all.
No.
No.
Last year did feel exciting, but not like this.
Something's happening.
No, for
Something is
sure.
This feels like an
stirring up.
opening.
And bro, the first
Did you
like
say an opening up?
Stirring up.
Oh, I was like, not
We
us
almost
saying
said the
the
same
same
word.
not us.
Not
Being
us being
aligned
on
in the
same
spirit.
wavelength.
That's real. It's real.
No, it
We're all
isn't.
like-
No,
Bro, and it's crazy too because like the
Yeah.
first 3 days of this year were like horrible for me.
that's always how it happens. That's always
Right?
how it happens.
Yeah, it starts off like that.
Dude,
Yeah.
and you were hogging Nate in Dallas when I needed him the first
Oh,
3 days.
no,
That was bad.
You were deep in
In
Dallas,
Dallas,
land.
bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was there
just
for
at
a
home
while.
Alone,
He was there.
bro.
I
I was
didn't even
just-
hardly get to see you. You were just in my city.
I know, you jerk.
I was gonna say, I was gonna use you
jerk.
freaking jerk.
No, I was. What? Yeah, we didn't see each other. I was.
No.
I was with the
I
boys
saw
the whole
you
time.
multiple times. You were also at Jesus Image right before that.
Yeah, but then again,
I never saw you one time.
Yeah,
I never saw you one time.
I was with the boys the whole time.
freaking boy.
You would get tired
Boys,
so
man.
quick.
I know. I was really tired.
Abby's tapped.
She's
I
sleepy.
tap. I tell them. When
The
I'm
last
done,
two
I'm
trips.
done.
The last two trips, we could have hung out a lot. She tapped,
You know what?
Mm.
Sometimes I just.
You
Why'd
sound
you
a
just
little
which I
call her out?
respect.
Sometimes I just take care of myself.
I
Right.
respect it. I respect it.
Right.
That's
I've
good.
been hanging though this trip. I literally got back to the hotel last night and I told Gabe, I was like, I can hang with the boys. He was like, no, you can.
Oh yeah. I want to move on to
love
something
that.
a little more lighthearted because this is something that we were dying about last night. But there's something that I'm really passionate about, and I think
What are you
that
about to say?
I think it's a ministry in and of itself.
Do you have your Bible up?
Yeah, I'm reading
Okay.
in Fleshalations 3:16. It says, "Thy shall mess up during worship many times."
Oh.
And I want to hear about your favorite worship fail.
Okay. I have
This
one.
is good.
But it's not really a worship fail. It's just a church fail because
Okay.
I was at this church.
Mhm.
I love this church. It's in my hometown.
Mm.
But we would do like cover songs.
Mm-hmm.
I led there for years. We would do like cover songs that correlated with the message. So if it was a song, if it was like it's because it's just funny, the song that we did. But it was, I don't even remember what the message was about. I think it was something about marriage. And we did Love Yourself by Justin Bieber.
Oh, there we go.
I really wish I
Okay.
could remember the title of the sermon because it made a lot of sense. But I was still like, okay, Justin Bieber. And it had just come out. So nobody really knew the song. I was not supposed to lead the song. The guy I was singing with was supposed to lead it. And he showed up and he had kind of like, he told me like halfway through sound check, he was like, I mean, I'll be good. Like he like kind of sang through it and he was like, I got it. And he told me, he was like, I kind of, I've sat down and fumbled around with it. I'm good. I got it. So we start, this is like pre-worship. We did like the song announcements or like welcome worship.
Right.
So all the band is backstage and we did like an acoustic. I was just going to like sing like harmonies with them. And it's a very like, y'all know the song. It's like very like the words matter. Every word has a very specific place. It's very like syncopated.
Right.
Mama, wow. Like it's like very specific. If you mess up a word, you're done till the next part.
Yeah.
So about a line or two in, I'm messing up the story. I have to back up a little bit because in sound check, he did say I fumbled through. He didn't know the song well enough and he was like, Abby, could you sing it? And I was like, I mean, sure. I think I can do that. This is a very important piece of the story because yes. So I was like, sure, I got it. So we like go through it. I'm like, this is great. I just need the lyrics. Like I have to have the lyrics or I'm not going to make it.
Right.
So we get up there. I lose my place a couple lines in. And when you like panic and you just like lose your place and then you're like, I cannot find the place. I can't like skip down a couple words and find a new place to resume. I just like, it was like all of a sudden all the words were just there.
That's me. That is so me.
I panicked and I was like, I don't know the song. And so I'm singing. I don't remember what part. We were like halfway through the verse probably at this point. He's still just dun, 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 whatever and I lose my place and I went, oh my gosh. And I just walked back to the back of the stage and I'm like, everyone's going to like laugh with me. This is classic. This is a classic moment in the history of the Avenue. Innis. No, nobody laughed.
What?
Nobody laughed.
Wow.
It was dead silent. Actually, I thought of this recently because I found a video of my brother reenacting it. I'll have to show you all later. It's so good. But I was just like, I'm standing at the back of the stage and I'm like, oh, okay.
Okay, well that
Well, and so
Did they stop?
No,
the song?
he just kind of like fumbled through the love yourself.
and then silence.
And then the band comes up and we start worship.
Oh.
And I was mortified. I didn't want to show myself there. But my brother was like, Abby. He was playing with me that week. My brother used to come play sometimes there. He was like, Abby, what the, like, just like, I was like, I couldn't finish the song. So anyway.
Wow.
It was
Wait, what was your exiting line? Oh gosh.
Love you. Oh my gosh. and I just walked back. I'm so glad. Oh my God. Because I just was like, what else? There's nothing. I either say like, guys, I'm so sorry. I just can't recover.
Right.
I should have just, honestly, that's probably what I would do now.
Yeah.
But I was so flustered. I was like, I can't. And I thought everybody would back me up and laugh.
Nobody did.
Nobody.
They left you stranded.
They left me hanging.
Wow.
That's lonely.
It was lonely.
lonely.
It was bad.
I feel bad for
Okay,
you,
I do have one more.
Okay.
This one is in worship. It's not much of a story. I just was in a place where I liked to talk about being in a funk a lot.
Oh, no.
It was just very true.
No way. I see where
I
this
was like,
is going.
I just like, I just felt like it was just real. I talked about being in a funk a lot. Like I would, if I was feeling something I couldn't explain, I would just chalk it up to being in a funk, you know?
Oh gosh.
And I sang that one night. I've got to find the live stream. It's out there somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
But I like sang the funk off. We just like sang the funk off and I sang that over. I don't remember the melody, but the first like I only sang it like 3 times and I was like, I can't do this anymore. Nobody is gonna hear funk.
Yeah, right.
So anyway, every once in a while I'll just get a text that says like,
we need to hear
Sing
that.
the funk off.
Sing the funk off. Just sing through the funk. It was something like that.
Slip up and say.
No,
say it.
that would have,
Say what? I don't know.
something else. I didn't actually say anything. I just sang funk.
And you got through it a couple times. And
got through it a couple times.
Yeah,
and I was
maybe
like,
I
this is gonna, somebody is gonna hear something else.
Right.
That is
Holy
crazy.
cow.
I don't have very many fail moments. Like I do, but they're not like funny and dramatic.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't really fail that often.
I'm pretty perfect.
Yeah.
I could tell you some of mine.
Everyone else fails.
I really
Like
wish I had a terrible one.
Yeah.
There was one time we did So Will I. And I was
such a wordy song.
another one
Oh.
that I was like so confident. It was new. I was like, I love this song. It resonated with so much.
It's a great
And
song.
I messed up the first verse. I sang God of Salvation or something, which is like the last one.
Yeah.
And I immediately was like,
Oh no.
oh dang. And I just like giggled and backed up and just like kept going. But the track was like on chorus 2 by the time I restarted the first verse.
Oh no.
And then I like wanted, it was so stressful. It's the one that's out there, the Upper Room released.
No,
What?
no,
Really?
If
no.
you watch the video, you see me go, and then I start because they just cut it. Like it's the end of my giggle.
Yeah.
But it in my ears, it's like chorus 2, 3, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I haven't started the song yet.
That for me is
Stressful.
high stress. Oh my gosh.
I did not. To this day, I'm like, I don't know how. It just goes to show that the Lord uses things that it has nothing to do with you. Because I'm
It's
like,
true.
I was not feeling anything. I was just trying to get through that song.
Yeah.
At that point.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to repeat the bridge. As you will notice, y'all should go back and listen.
Yeah, we're going to,
I
for
just
sure.
repeat the O's over and over because I couldn't. I was like, please, somebody put the lyrics up. And I couldn't like pull it up fast enough. So I was just, whoa. And people probably think it's like so anointed and like, oh,
spontaneous.
she was feeling
She was
those
feeling
O's.
it.
Something was happening. No, I just couldn't. I wanted to I felt something, but I couldn't sing any of the actual words because I
Right.
didn't know them.
You're
I
stalling.
feel that.
It'd be like that.
Yeah.
Dang.
The amount of things that go
Take
through our
notes,
heads
kids.
as worship
Take
leaders
notes.
is insane.
Yeah.
The amount of
totally.
what?
The things that go through our heads as worship leaders sometimes is just like,
Yeah. That's an encouragement though to worship leaders.
Yeah.
You are human.
You
Yeah.
are human.
Yeah.
And
You're
honestly, it's better that you learn that now so that when you fail, like you can laugh at yourself.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
God is not displeased with you when you mess up.
yeah.
True.
God doesn't turn his ear when something doesn't go right on a Sunday.
Yeah.
I think he kind of likes it.
I heard it said, and this ruined me,
Yeah.
God misses the imperfection of his church
Wow.
because he misses being able to love us in that. And when you act like you have it all together on a Sunday, you are essentially saying, it's okay, God, I got it.
Dang.
Like, I got this for you. Like, I'm going to move the room, which is like the complete opposite of what we do. Like, we come to move his heart.
Yep.
And your willingness to love on him in your imperfection is actually what moves it more than like
Yeah.
a perfect sacrifice,
Yeah.
you know?
True.
What even is a perfect sucker? You know?
Exactly. Jesus,
That's
we
it.
couldn't be
That's
one.
it. We can't.
No.
We couldn't be one.
It's true.
Dang.
Dang. All right, so
deep. Dang.
That's deep.
Oh, yeah.
it's so
Going
good.
back a little bit on just like your songwriting process, do you feel like you've always felt like you were a songwriter, or was there like a moment where you were like, okay, I'm gonna like start a little bit and
Yeah.
see where it goes? And, like,
I haven't always written songs. I think I wrote my first song when I was like 10.
Yeah.
So from a young age,
Yeah.
but they were like not good songs. There's an album out there somewhere in this world that is not, I don't know how to take it down.
Oh, we gotta go
It's
find
some
that.
of the first songs.
Dom.
Dom?
I should tell him.
To
But then
take
it'll
it.
be gone forever. Part of me likes that it's out there. I
Yeah.
just
To
don't want
keep it.
anyone to know.
Yeah.
Well, now we know.
Now
Well,
everyone knows.
Now we
Now
know.
Links in
everybody
the
watching
description.
I'm
knows.
not going to tell you I'm not going to tell you the name or anything or what it's under, but some of those first songs, I wrote a lot just by myself. I
Mhm.
would like show my dad songs that I had written and
Yeah.
be like, is this theologically accurate? Like, does this make sense? And he was just kind of a good sounding board for me
Yeah.
to just show what was coming out of me.
Yeah.
There was a season when I was little, I was probably like 13 or 14, and I was writing a lot of sad songs, and
Mhm.
I remember being like, what's happening? Like, I think something deep, I think it was from, now that I'm older and I'm thinking back, at the time I was like, I'm not sad. Why is this coming out of me? But I think there were layers
Yeah.
that something in songwriting was bringing out a truer part of me that I didn't know
Mm-hmm.
was fully there.
Yeah.
Just like dysfunction in family and just like life. It was just like kind of stacked. Also, when you're young, I feel like sometimes there's not, honestly, Gen Z is kind of breaking this, this weird thing that I think has been a normal thing in history of like, you can't talk about certain things. If you're, like, for me, I'll use me as an example. When I was younger, I felt like I couldn't talk about certain things that had to do with my family because I was in that family. And so I almost felt like trapped and like, what's the point of even talking about it? I feel like Gen Z has kind of broken this, like, we're going to talk about what's true and honest. And I love it. It's this like gritty, like, just honesty. I don't know what other word to use for it. But anyway, back to songwriting. I was writing all these sad songs and I asked the Lord, I was like, why am I writing all these sad songs? I'm confused. Like, I'd actually like to write things that felt more full of joy and hope. And he told me, Abby, you're going to write songs that free people to feel. Because feeling is the first step toward getting anywhere anyway. Being honest about what's actually there. Yeah. And you don't need to stay there. And I think that's where it gets messy with songwriting and artistry is, like, what do you do with the honesty now? It's there and it's out in the open, but where do you put it? Who do you give it to? Which is where Jesus comes in. But I feel like there was a super huge turning point for my heart. And I didn't even fully know what that meant, but I'm starting to see little glimpses here and there. And I'm figuring out how to do it. Like there's still so many songs that I don't know where they fit in this world that I've written that are about life and about my parents' divorce and about falling in love with my husband and about becoming a mom and about my siblings. Like just like life songs, and they're just from a true, honest place. So I'm figuring out like what to do with all the different parts of how I'm expressing my heart. But I'm seeing in little, even Pure is kind of a step towards walking in that thing that I really feel called to, which is giving people permission to feel with God. Yeah. There's this weird thing, I think we've done it in church unintentionally, and you can't even like point it back to one person or one place, but just over the years, the systems that we have in church and in Christianity and even in Christian music, there's this like way that you have to say things and present and even process externally. There's things that we feel like we can't process, and there's things that we feel like we can't talk about or say it that specific way. And I believe that there's a time and a place, and you don't need to. I was talking with someone this morning about like the importance of not just like being David in a corporate setting all the time. Like you don't need to like, fully psalm your way through worship in a corporate setting, but there's a place for that. And I think we're finding what that place is as artists in the church right now. Because it's important, and it's been a missing piece for a long time. So it's good. Because the Lord, like, I think there's also a disconnect with how the Lord feels about our hearts. I think he wants to know. I know he wants to know. And he wants to know what's inside me. And me coming and bringing a perfect sacrifice or whatever that means, bringing this like packaged offering. It just isn't like it can be so surface. At least for me, like I'll just speak from personal experience. Bringing like something other than my true self is leaving a lot out before the Lord. And he wants to work through that stuff with me. And again, there's a time and a place, and I'm not going to do that on a Sunday all the time. But he wants to get inside those places with me. And sit in them with me for as long or as short as we need to. And then move on, but yeah.
It's true.
I've known him as someone who's not in a rush to get past what I need to work through and talk about and uncover. Yes.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
So you've been writing, it sounds like, since you were like 13, 14 years old, which is crazy.
Little.
Who is somebody that you haven't worked with that you would love to, like a dream collab?
Oh, like writing or just like anything?
Anything, yeah. Could be a feature on the song.
Such a good question. It's because I feel like it would be someone like if Lizzie McAlpine called me and was like,
yes.
Abby.
Oh my gosh.
I
So
would
good.
lose my mind.
Me too.
I would lose my mind.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think she's the one. And there's a lot of them out there.
Right.
Gracie Abrams, Phoebe Bridgers, like all these people. Gorgeous. If Lizzie McAlpine called me,
That's the one, bro.
I might lose it.
All right, Lizzie, we know you watch this podcast. Imagine.
Get her on.
I went and saw her live in Austin. Guys, she's crazy.
She's wild.
Oh.
Dang.
Here's the thing about her. She knows music.
Mhm.
She like, you hear it and you're like, you know what you're doing technically.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's so artistic.
It is.
It's so like, it's a creative slant
Mm-hmm.
on
Yeah.
what's right.
Yeah. And
It's
she's
crazy.
like so good at this like talk singing
Yes.
and like having that like vocal control. It's
her
it's,
vocal
She's
she knows
control.
what she's doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
love her.
Dang. Well, there you have it.
There you have it.
Lizzie,
Oh, God.
if you're
Lizzie.
watching this, make that happen. 2024.
I want to hear Tiny Habits cover one of your songs.
Oh my gosh.
I want to hear
love
Tiny
that.
Habits do Moonflower. All
Guys, that would be crazy. Tiny habits.
right, guys,
Can we
you guys
tag
can come
do it
out.
together?
Imagine.
You guys can come
It's
out.
like the
Imagine.
Ellen show, you know? All right.
Imagine. They're ready
They come out
They
with
pop out
Ellen.
of this thing right here.
for no reason. Like, why is
Why
Ellen, here?
here?
I love Ellen. If I could do a collab with Ellen.
Remember that? Right.
Remember when my hair was blonde and people used to tell me I was like,
That's what I was going to say.
Stop.
yeah, I was like,
I got
"Oh."
mad at him when we were playing pickleball
That's
one
bad.
time.
Yeah, and he called me Ellen, bro. Yeah.
No.
That's bad.
Yeah.
Oh
it was mean.
gosh.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Ellen's like
I've
one of
forgiven you
my.
already.
Thank
Nate.
God.
Ellen, Jimmy Fallon,
a
and Whitney
bully.
Houston are like the three people I'd love to have dinner with.
Oh,
All together.
yo.
We need to do that question.
Yes, this is not even on the sheet, but
What?
your dream dinner, you already kind of did it, so.
It would
But-
be
but-
Whitney. I
I guess
can't.
it's over.
Yeah. And why, though?
Your dream
like,
dinner?
What role would they play?
With who, you mean?
yeah, it's like who would
I just
you
want
have
to
at
hang
your
out with
table
them, though.
at
I
your
just want to
dinner?
hang out.
Yeah.
Maybe one at a time. Maybe like I would get 30 minutes with each of them just to like pick their brain and vibe.
Okay.
And then it would be
So
all
not
of
all-
us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It
So
would
you
be
want
Jimmy
30-minute
Fallon.
blocks with
Jimmy
them
Fallon?
individually.
It would be Jimmy Fallon. I love him.
Not to burst your bubble. Heard he's really mean. Continue.
I have heard that too.
Like
I
all
don't
those
believe
talk
it.
show
I don't
host
believe it
guys
for
are.
a second. I
I
can't
could see
believe
him
it.
being really mean.
I can't.
Yeah.
I heard James Corden or whatever his name is a bad
Yeah,
guy.
you have no reason to be rude if you're James.
Stop.
Sorry.
Is
Next.
Ellen rude? Ellen's genuinely kind.
Oh, I could tell you.
She looks
Well,
nice.
I could tell you, she's. I don't even know the woman. I don't know her from a peanut on the street, but
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 I could tell you she's mean.
not even a
I don't believe
saying,
it.
bro.
It's the
I
eyes.
don't
You gotta
believe
see
it.
the
I
eyes.
don't believe it.
Her and Jimmy Fallon, they have this thing
No.
in their eyes.
Yeah.
Nate,
And you're
shut
like-
up. I love this. I've heard these things too. I
Uh-huh.
refuse. I block them out.
Okay. Have
I
television.
do not
It's
see
good.
it. I do not hear it.
Television.
And Whitney. And let me tell you what, you
Houston?
cannot say a single
Yeah.
thing bad about Whitney Houston.
Don't
she,
do it.
No, she is my angel. I love her so much. Shut up. Nate, stop. She is my heart.
I love her.
I love her so much.
I love her.
I don't know what they
No, I'm
said.
kidding.
They did a good job of hiding it.
What did you say? I feel
Dang,
like I know
that's
what
crazy.
you said.
left him hanging. That's wild.
I feel like I know what
Can't
you
say
said.
I think you did.
I think I do.
Yeah.
I don't
What's the
wanna
next
hear it.
question?
What's the next question?
Sorry,
How
I
about that for a
derailed us.
segue?
Yeah, how about
How
that,
about that
for a
for a
segue,
segue?
Abby?
Derailed us hard. Do you want to know who I want? No, I'm not kidding.
Yeah. Do you want to?
Like, do you want to know who I'd like to have over to my house?
Right, yeah. We just really dive in here. I want Britt to ask her a question. I
yeah,
wanna
to
hear
get
about that.
okay. To
Okay.
get a little deep.
Yeah.
I know Upper Room and yourself, your platform is growing and you're going around the world doing great things. And I love it. Love to see it.
We love
But-
to see
We
it.
love to see it.
To see it.
How do you hold on to your purity in those moments?
Of travel and just all the things.
Just traveling, maybe you feel like you're in a high pressure environment where you like feel like a high pressure to perform.
Mm.
How do you hold on to that purity and just keep your eyes like on the Lord?
Have really great people around me. Practically, that's a really important one.
Yeah.
Like I don't even like when we go out. I still travel with Upper Room. Here and there. I say here and there. It's been like almost every month.
Yeah.
But I'm also saying yes to things that are just like I was asked to go somewhere, and so I'm saying yes to more of that. But I always, even if when it's upper room, it's a whole team of people, so I kind of have like natural. I don't have to like plan to have good people around me. That's a given when it's an upper room trip. But when it's me, I've kind of set up like my husband always comes with me. Typically, our little boy comes with us and a helper for him. So that's already, whoever would come with us to help with Enzo is usually a part of family. It's either our nanny or my sister. And so I kind of just have these people around me that have permission to keep me in check, but mostly are just like sounding boards for all the things that we encounter. You need community in those places.
That's true.
And one thing I've encountered, not a lot of, I feel like I've heard stories of people experiencing this a lot more than I have, but a couple of times I've gone into places. It's mostly like with like young youth groups, like stuff like that, where it's harder to separate the art and the worship from the person.
Yep.
And so I'll go in and they're like, oh my God, upper room. Like if it's like, if it's upper room, it's upper room. Sometimes if it's just me, they think I'm upper room. And I'm like, no, guys, it's just me.
Just Abby.
It's just me. Or like, like I've been in rooms where people were chanting my name and like, where it's just like, this is a lot for my heart and my brain. And I've just kind of made it, I was going to say I've made it a practice. I don't have a practice though. It's kind of in those moments you're confronted with, how does this make me feel? But also I don't really have time to process how this makes me feel. What am I going to do about it right now? And I first try to get my heart centered on Jesus. It's this weird thing. I kind of think about, this is such a funny example, but I feel like Selena in those moments.
I love that.
That show, you know, I don't know exactly where. I think it was somewhere in Texas, I think. You know what I'm talking about? The show where like it was going to get shut down because the crowds were so crazy.
We talking about Gomez here?
No,
Selena.
Oh, Selena. Who's that?
Huh?
Selena.
Oh my, JT, you're out.
You're a Latina.
You're out.
I know, I'm Boricua.
You know who Selena is.
Imagine
She's Spanish. You know, bitty bitty bum bum, or como la flor.
Yeah, I got nothing, guys. I'm not gonna lie to
you.
you.
Are you joking?
She's like,
J-Lo played her
maybe
in the movie.
Yes.
J-Lo, yeah, she
did.
Maybe if I saw
Imagine the big, I'm not going to say the person's name.
Okay.
Imagine the biggest Spanish artist you know.
Okay. Got it.
Woman.
In my head.
She's
but
bigger.
a woman.
Oh.
In their time.
Yes.
90s, 80s, 90s.
Oh, okay.
She was like...
Sorry, keep going.
She was incredible.
Yep.
She didn't even speak Spanish.
Yes.
She was from a Tex-Mex family. Like her family was Mexican in Texas.
But she did not.
She did not speak Spanish.
Whoa.
And so it was this crazy... Anyway, I'm not going to talk about the history of Selena. We'll talk about that later. But she's amazing. Yeah. Love her. But there's this show where she was literally asked, like, do we shut the show down because the stage is going to collapse because of how crazy the crowd is right now? She was like, no, I can go out there and calm them down. And she goes out and sings her songs, and it was, I feel like Selena because it's almost this thing of like, do I leave right now? Which that's not really an option, but like in my heart, I'm like, do I leave right now? Or do I go be myself and point them to Jesus? And that's not what Selena did, but she went out and was like herself.
Yeah.
Such a weird example.
No,
but do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like this just like
100%.
chaos.
Yeah.
This chaos and this like wrong focus.
Yeah.
And the thing is like, I feel like I'm going round and round. I feel like I'm not even touching specifically on the purity piece. But the thing is, as humans, I said like it's hard for young people. It's hard for me sometimes to separate the person that got me that was like the avenue to a place with God, the doorway. And so I understand because I have felt those same things of like meeting someone and you're like, you're the one that did it. But it was the Lord, but it was their gifting and their that was the doorway. And so the Lord's just been doing a lot of work in my heart of like having grace for those places. and relating with them. And I feel like that didn't answer the purity question, but
no, it was spot on.
It's something that kind of is confronted in my heart a lot.
Yeah.
And even like, it's hard going out because it's uncomfortable because you're leaving your home, you're leaving your comfort. A lot of times my baby is with me. And you're going into somebody else's space to serve it. And while it's beautiful, it is hard on you sometimes to come in and serve. And it's draining and it's beautiful and it's all these things, and kind of just like keeping a read on where your heart is. And I'm learning, I'm trying to get better at dealing with those things quicker that come up in my heart.
Yeah.
Like it's usually not, I don't have time in the moment. Those things come up like as I'm walking to lead or whatever. But like that night or the next morning or what, like almost setting aside time, because what happens is that it can catch up to me and I'll be weeks into multiple back-to-back trips or whatever, and I'll be exhausted in my soul and in my heart, and I'm like, what's going on? And I realize I haven't processed the things that came up multiple times in a row. I feel like you have something to add to this.
No, I just want to say you do a really good job of this. And there's a viral clip of Stephanie talking about this. She's like, the only reason I can stand in front of thousands is because I always go back to one. And
it's so good.
And it also, like, that's what you've cultivated over the years, is that the reason God trusts you with so much is because he knows that your reward and your treasure is him. And it's always a temptation for when people shout your name, or to when people give you praise or a crown of sorts, to keep the crown. But time and time again, and I've been able to see this actively, you always cast the crown back. And you and all of our friends are so incredible at it, and that's why the Lord could trust y'all so much, because the purity of this thing, it gets unpure the moment you try to keep the crown that you were never meant to hold. Like, man was never made it to be, like, the people of Israel asked God for a king, and he's like,
for real?
Yeah, really? Like, you weren't meant to have a king. Like, men are not meant to wear crowns. And that's why the elders cast them. But
that's so good.
But it's you'll stay pure if you love the place of obscurity more than you do the place of influence and being seen and getting credit. Like, could you go your whole life without getting credit for a single thing you did? And that's tough.
That's confronting.
And like we must. And here's the thing: we must. It's not something that you're like, I made my mind up about it. It's like, no, like, you'll have to continually, I think that it's a continual surrender. And you have to keep a thermometer on, like, if the Lord took all this away from me right now, would I be okay if I was just an obscure prayer warrior in my closet? And could I pick up a normal job and function the same?
Those are real questions.
And it's like, oh, I've had to answer that no sometimes. I've answered no many times.
Which is, it's kind of working through those no's.
And being aware.
Yeah.
And I literally remember being like, Lord, no, like, I need to take a step back. I need to do less and just fall, like, work on, like, just remember to fall in love. Like, this isn't,
Have you read the book Anonymous?
No.
I started it.
So good.
It's really good.
We, some songwriters in our community all read it together. It's basically a book about hiddenness and the importance of it.
And how Jesus, like, he lived, like, the first 30 years, like, hidden before he even started his ministry.
And even once he was, like, walking in his ministry on the earth, he did what you just said. He always went back to the Father. Even, like, I'm reading the Gospels right now. We're doing a 24-day fast and, like, quick read through the Gospels. And I've never read it so quickly, back to back, like, chronologically. And certain things are sticking out to me differently than I ever have seen them, but I've noticed a pattern of Jesus. First of all, he was very human and he would get overwhelmed, and you watch him, like, this kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier of, like, just the grace and the tenderness towards the human experience of figuring out how to separate the person from the move of God that they were a part of. But Jesus would try to leave. Jesus would, like, be like, get all you 12, let's get on a boat and we're going to go across the lake. We're going to get away from all these people. And the people would follow him. I've noticed that. I'm reading in the Passion right now. And it would be like, and the people like hurriedly chased after him. And it's so intense. And I'm like, I would be so stressed and overstimulated.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure he was. Like the amount of times that he went away to be with the Father, I just feel like he felt how I feel sometimes of like, I'm socially overstimulated and I'm like, people are stressing me out. But then when the people would come and they would chase after him, it always said, and he was like moved with tenderness towards them.
Jeez.
He had a gentle heart and compassion towards them. And so, yeah, it's the like getting away, but then also the compassion piece is so important.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's so good, bro.
Yeah.
Love it.
I love that.
And he was Jesus and he still like had to get away with the Father.
Yeah.
That's
he was
crazy.
God.
Yeah.
He was God as a man, and he still was like, can't do this unless I get some time with you.
Can't do it on my own.
That's so crazy.
It's incredibly convicting.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Like, who the heck are we?
To think that we could do
just do all of this.
It's embarrassing. I'm like, who am I?
Right.
And like the thing is,
literally, when you think about it like that, it's like, that is
the Son went to the Father.
Yes, the Son of God. God.
Yes.
Went to the other part of God, his Father.
Right. And it's crazy because you could do this whole entire thing without actually like knowing the Lord. It's so easy to just fall into that.
That is terrifying.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I cast out demons in your name. We heal the sick in your name. And the Lord's response to that is, depart from me, for I never knew you. Whoa.
I do not want to hear that.
That is my greatest.
I had the biggest
fear.
church. Depart from me, I never knew you.
Yep.
The relational side.
Crazy.
Like
bro.
you can fill in that blank. Like modern day, like, oh, I hosted this and I did that and and there's another part of that, and I read it one time and I heard the sadness on the Lord's answer. It's not just like a get away from me, I never knew you. It's also like, I never knew you.
Yeah.
And you're my son. And it's almost like the Father doesn't say that with a proud heart. Like he wanted to.
Yeah.
I never knew you though.
Yeah.
And then you can't worship your way out of that. Like that's scary. And that's the reality of the gospel. You can't worship your way out of, like, once you stand before the Lord, there's no way you get a second try at like, let me go back and try to do that again. And I'm not trying to scare people.
Right.
But if you are
that, kids.
but it's a real thing. And it's not
that's real.
and I want it to convict more than fear. Like, let it be the word of God that will bring, like, there's a holy reverence to the fact that we got one shot at this life, and I'd rather just live in love and in his heart and in his deep grace than like try to do things my whole life, and then the moment I stand before the Lord, he goes, depart from me, I never knew you, and then I'm eternally damned from him.
I mean, that's the fear of God. That's not like, that's a holy fear. Like, that should really be our only fear.
Yeah.
That's what we would hear.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Wow.
That would be the worst. That would be so bad.
Yeah.
It like can't get any worse.
I could not.
Because it literally, you're like, you're smoked.
You're done. You're smoked.
You're done. It's like,
you're completely beat.
I never knew you.
There's no hope.
Boom.
Yeah.
Now I'm in eternity without him.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But then the flip side, the tender side, is like, just wants to know us.
He just wants to know us.
He
and
just
it's
like
so much better with
longs to
him.
be in relationship daily.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Thank you, Lord.
Well, I don't want to keep you much longer
Thank you,
because
Lord.
we've been yapping.
We've been yapping.
But it's been so good. This has been one of the most just like cool podcasts to just sit and just like listen and learn. Like, seriously, I've learned and just appreciate what you do so much more and how you do things.
Yeah.
I think that's the most special thing. Like, a lot of people have giftings and talents, but like how they go about it is just so, how you do it is so beautiful and in such a pure way. And it's really inspiring, honestly. And I get to hear about it from Nate secondhand, but getting to meet you and spend time with you has been really, really fun. We've been asking this question a lot on the podcast. This is the last one we'll ask you, and then we'll get out of here and get some
sad.
food.
Like,
I know, I'm vibing, but it's been almost 2 hours. So.
No way.
No.
Yeah.
Wait.
It's 7:00.
Yes.
Yo, who's that guy?
They're like, yo, we're hungry.
They're like,
please shut up.
yeah.
7:00.
I know. How crazy
That's what
is
happens
that?
when you're talking about the goodness
It's
of
nuts.
God.
I know, I'm shocked.
What is
My phone's
time?
blowing up right now.
Mine
it's,
is too.
It's probably
Yeah, honestly.
probably like, yo, we're out of memory on the cameras, bro.
Oh,
Dude,
gosh.
guys, we had the lens on the whole time. Kidding.
Shut up.
Oh my gosh,
the
imagine we
lens
were
cap on the
recording.
camera.
Okay, sorry.
We're recording. It's fine.
Okay, last question. Okay, so again, this is for middle schoolers, high schoolers, college, whatever.
Yep.
If you could go back and tell high school Abby one thing, what would you tell her?
So many things.
You run into her on the street, she doesn't know
Right.
it's you.
Yeah, like that, like 17 again vibe.
Yeah.
I would tell her. That's because I'm thinking about, we wrote this piece of a song with Pastor Steven this morning, me and Leland, and we said like something about, oh, to be younger, knowing what I know now. And I'm just thinking like there's so many things. I think I would just tell myself like, maybe don't take yourself so seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not in a demeaning way, but like, you have a lot of beauty inside you, but I'm trying to figure out how I would say it, because it wouldn't be like there's a lot of people doing much better things than you.
Yeah.
But I think there would be like a reality check of like, Abby, you're a piece.
Right.
Because I think when I was young, you feel a lot bigger in life, and you long to be a lot bigger in life than is necessary. And the older you get, the more content you become with just being a part of a larger story.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'd say be excited about being a part.
Mm.
And yeah, we're just kind of along for a ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so true.
And we learn to say yes where it's wise, and we learn to say no where it's wise.
Yeah.
Yep.
Beautiful. I love that.
I hope that makes sense.
Yeah,
I
no,
feel
that's
like there's
great.
so many things I
And
could
a couple
say.
people like we always ask that with our guests, and a couple of people have kind of said the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, don't take yourself so serious.
Yeah.
Chill out.
Yeah,
It's
chill.
not that big of a deal.
Right.
And high school feels like everything's like
Everything, like the world
the
is
biggest
ending.
deal.
Yeah.
Something goes wrong, it's the end of the world.
Yeah.
You know? I love that
That's
so
good, though.
much. Well, thank you again. Seriously. Sorry
Thanks,
it took
Abby.
2 hours, but
That's crazy.
didn't feel like it at all.
Did not.
That was so good.